In this video, we're going to create a galaxy. We're in a series of tutorials. We're going to create a galaxy. So we'll be creating stars, we'll be creating planets, shooting stars or comets, um, going through different, adding rings around certain planets, whatever we want to do here. We're going to create planets in a couple different ways, but we're going to utilize different tools, different effects, blending modes, and brushes to create a galaxy from scratch. This is a lot of fun. It is kind of advanced, but it puts us, kind of puts your techniques a little bit to the test to see what we can really do and what your imagination can come up with when creating a galaxy. I found this tutorial a lot of fun, and so let's go ahead and dive in. So first we're going to do is we're going to create a new project. So we've opened up Photoshop. We've got a new project. I'm going to go here and say art and illustration. Actually, no, I'm going to go film and video. And I'm going to say 1920 by 1080. That's fine. But one thing I'm going to change is my resolution. Now, 72 pixels per inch is a good resolution for video. But if we want to do this for print or anything higher, we're going to definitely want a higher resolution image. So usually it's either 150 or 300. Keep in mind that the higher resolution also does increase your file size. So with that, I'm going to go and say 300. You can make it 150 if you want, but make sure that it's 1920 by 1080 and nothing higher than 300 pixels per inch. Let's go ahead and give this a name too. We're going to call this Galaxy right off the bat. Okay, looks good. And click Create. So there we go. We've got our new project in Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do is fill the background with black. And since I've got, if I switch these, if I toggle my switches here and say Control Delete, I believe, or Alt Command Delete. Yep, Control or Command Delete fills our background with black, with our background color. Now, so that was Control Delete, that was a new key for you, or Command Delete on the Mac. Now, we're going to go up to Window, and we're going to go down to, I'm sorry, not Window, we're going to go to Filter, we're going to say Render. We're going to, not render, we're going to add noise. We want to add noise, so we're going to go to Noise, Add Noise. And we're going to say amount is 400, Gaussian, monochromatic. That looks pretty good. Oh, I want monochromatic checked. That looks good. So we're going to click OK with that. Now we're going to go ahead and duplicate this. So you can Command D. No, that's Command D to deselect. You could drag it down here to the new icon and duplicate it that way. You can also hit Command J or Control J on a PC, but Command J on a Mac will also duplicate your layer. So we've got two layers that are the same at this point, 1, 2. On the top one, I'm going to go ahead and hit the eyeball next to it, shut that off, so we're only looking at our background layer. Before we do levels, Filter, Blur, Gaussian, Blur. We're going to do this quite a bit. So Filter, Blur, Gaussian, Blur, and we're going to set the radius to 0.4. That looks good. Now Control L or Command L. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Say 200. That looks good. And the middle number is going to be 0.4. Say 220 by 0.4 and click OK. We're getting there. Now let's go up to the second one. We'll turn the second one on. We're going to do the similar thing. Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And we're going to say 0.1 on this. 0.1 pixel. Almost seems like pointless to do this. And then Control L or Command L for levels. You can also do that with we're going to say 170 and change the top to 175. Why is that not working? Let's take a look at this one here again. Alright, so let's try this again. So I've deleted my second layer. There we go. We'll create a new layer just like we did the first one. Create a new layer. Control delete to fill it with black, my background color back here. Go to filter, we're going to noise, add noise. I'm going to bring this down to say 70%. And it should bring it down to 65% like that. And then I'm going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. At a 0.5, that looks good there. I might 0.75. Let's just go with an even 1. Alright, and Control L for levels, or Command L, or you can go up to Image, Adjustments, Levels. And I'm going to bring this up like so. I don't need too many, I just want, what if I said 145? Yeah, that looks good. 145 to 150 there. So now I've got some small ones here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my channels panel. We haven't done this yet. With my new layer selected, I'm going to go over to my channels panel. Get up here. Go to my channels panel. At the bottom of my channels panel, I've got a it looks like a dotted circle here. It says load selection from channel. Load channel as selection. If I click that, now you can see it's kind of twinkling. That's fine. I'm going to go back into my layers, and I can get rid of this layer for right now. I don't need it. Just trash it. Create a new layer. And then I'm going to swap this around here so my white is on the bottom. And I'm going to hit Command Delete. And that should fill that with white. Now I'm going to hit Control or Command D to deselect. Okay, you can't really see anything. But if I double click my layer and open up my layer styles, you know, basically going into effects, right? I want everything shut off. I'm going to choose outer glow. And I'm going to say blend mode is normal. That's fine. Size is going to be about 10 pixels. Color is going to be white. That's fine there. That looks good. We'll click OK. And now you can see I've got a glow around all of some of my stars here. Okay. And if that's too much, go ahead and drop the opacity down a little bit. Okay. And again, if it's still too much, you can mask this out because I don't necessarily want all of these stars to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and actually mask some of these out right now just by clicking my mask button on my layers panel. Make sure my mask is selected. Filter. I'm going to render out some difference clouds. I'm going to do it again. Render. Okay. Let's boost the opacity. So now I've got some filters going on. Let's create a new layer. Now we're going to create some clouds. So we're going to filter. We've already done this once already. I'm going to go render, clouds. And you can do this, it's going to randomize your cloud pattern. So you can do this as much as you want till you get to a cloud pattern that you kind of like. That's not bad. We'll use that one. And we're going to change its mode to color. Okay. Now we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to put this one underneath our clouds panel, or our clouds layer. Let's go ahead and label this one right now. We're going to call this one gas. Okay. And we're going to call this one gas color. Alright. And this one's stars. And then, of course, our background. Okay. Gas color is selected. Now, let's go ahead and pick a color. And let's go ahead and choose... Yeah, let's start with a red. Why not? Let's start with the red here. And then we're going to come over to our brushes, our paintbrush tool. No. Paintbrush tool. Alright, we'll come up here to our brush. We'll crank it up to about That's good. Okay, we don't want the hardness up, we want soft. Then we'll come over to our brushes panel. We're going to make sure all of this stuff is turned off, but we're going to keep smoothing on. We want all of this stuff off except for smoothing. That's good there. Okay, so this is what we've got. And now, let's go ahead and drop our opacity down to about somewhere between 10 and 15%. And let's just go ahead and just kind of paint some stuff in here. So we're going to change this. Okay, let's do this another color. Let's add some blues in. Alright, so now we've got this going on. Let's change one thing on our gas cloud layer that we created earlier at the top of this. Let's change our blend mode, not from these other ones. But let's take a look at color dodge. What's that look like? Oh, look at that. That looks pretty cool. That looks kind of like something crazy that you might see out in space. So from there, this is a little bright here, so I might come in here with a blue and kind of grab a brush. You know, maybe I've got something like this going on. Oh, made a mistake. Make sure you're on the right layer. One cool thing you can do is this little icon up here at the top is your history icon. So you can do Control Z or Command Z and Command Alt Z and keep going back. Or you can just jump back here to like that, right? And then let's just click over here and pick up from where we left off. So let's just like that. Okay. That looks pretty cool. Let me get that yellow back in here though. We do need a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to change my brush size. You can see even at just 9% how much this brightened up, you know, with that going on, you know. That's cool. That's pretty cool. And there we go. So there is our clouds. Now, even with this, if this is too bright for you, you can drop the opacity down a little bit. You know, drop it back to something like that. You know, just like that. That's pretty cool. Just like that. All right, so there we go. Just like that, we've created stars. We've created a galaxy gases that you might see out in space. Um, and we've got some glow going on here with some of our stars that are even closer to, that might be closer to us, as well as stars that are further away. So there you go. So go ahead and create that. In the next step, we're going to create a planet using a simple texture that we would have downloaded from the internet.